I'm Dr. Mark Addix. I'm an orthopedic surgeon. And I used to play a little football. And this is my jock to doc perspective.
This is former professional race car driver Tommy Kendall. Injury number 1, age 15. Grade 3 ankle sprain in a crash during a go-kart race. Injury number 2, age 24. Innumerable fractures of both lower extremities in the horrific crash at the legendary Watkins Glen racetrack. Injury number 3, age 26. Broken ribs in a crash during qualifying at the Sears Point NASCAR race. He competed just 2 days later. Injury number 4, age 35. Shattered ego from being beaten in the Toyota Grand Prix by Danica Patrick. Half his size, but much better looking.
I don't want to start a fight, obviously between your parents, but who taught you to drive?
Definitely my dad. I sat on his lap in both the boat, ski boat, and car probably when I was 8, 9 years old. All the time. Let me drive. I didn't drive gas, brake, and steering wheel until I was probably 10 or 11 with my dad. He had some friends said, hey, you got to go to a racing school. And he went to a racing school, bought a car, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, race cars, wow. And so that became my new obsession. And because I had access through him, I got a go-kart and kind of got started that way.
All right, so you're 91, coming off your championship season. You're at Watkins. Describe what happened.
Well, everyone says, do you remember it? I said, yeah, I remember it. Those 5 seconds seemed like they took about 15. I just made a pit stop. I was dicing with Jeff Brabham, who was the multi-time champion at the time, and for second spot. And coming into the corner at the end of the straightaway, it was the fastest corner probably that we faced all year. It was 140 mile an hour, but it was a full 180, And so you go in there at my car about 180. It's like your head wants to come off. It's like being in a meat grinder. I mean, it's hard work. It's every single one of your senses is tuned up. And so I felt this little shudder, and I felt the wheel come off. And then the car started to slide, which was the wheel coming off, and I corrected. My first thought was I was mad that I was going to lose second spot. And then I rotated. I'm around backwards now, and I see the background moving. And then that was the point I realized how fast I was going still. And I'm like, okay, we're going to hit something hard. But I hit virtually head on. And it just got dark, which was me going into all the tires. And then I just felt this enormous impact. It went in and it spun up. I remember it spinning up in the air, and then it just got bright daylight because the whole front of the car got ripped off. And I came to rest, and I looked down, and I knew my legs were broken.
Tell us all the things you broke in this one accident.
Both taluses, both tibias, both fibulas, and my right femur, which was wrapped up in the steering column. And the weird thing is, even before I could walk without crutches, I could drive well. And so my first race was 8 months after my accident, Miami Grand Prix. And there I was, even though I'd laughed or scoffed at people saying they came back too early, crutching over to my car. After my accident, I won 3 of my 4 championships post-accident. So it started us off on this roll, but we ended up winning 11 races in a row that year, which was not only, obviously we won the championship that year, which was my 3rd in a row and my first 4-time champion. And
in 1991, Tommy suffered a horrific crash that almost took his life. In 1997, he broke every racing record known to man when he won 11 consecutive races, a record that still stands to this day. When I asked him how he could continue to drive after suffering a near-fatal crash, he didn't choose to focus on what he could no longer do. He focused on his ability to continue to race. I'm Dr. Mark Addix, and that's my Jock to Doc Perspective.